No. Whoa, okay. This is what we're doing today, guys. Hold. I'm going to set a timer because I have to go to work soon, but I'm also dedicated to the podcast. Is this a podcast? This YouTube channel, whatever it is. Hold on. And the timer set. Okay. I decided I was going to time myself talking because these things have been running a cute like 30 to 35 minutes long. And I only need to extract like 10 minutes, maybe 15 from them. So I've been really trying to like condense. I'm a context person. When it comes to talking, I will give you the breadth of the situation in its entirety, right? So I'll tell you a story about work the other day, right? 2026, but somehow I have to backtrack all the way to 2004 to really just kind of give you a setup and the outline of my family before we kind of go further, right? 21 years in the future and discuss 2026. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's great. I think that makes me entertaining to myself at least. But when it comes to someone sitting in front of me and me just telling them a story about my day at work, it can get a little heady, in which I do understand that point. So I've been told. People have let me know that. I'm a talker. But I get it from my mama. I get it from my mama. And like only from my mom. My dad notoriously is like a concise person, a very concise person. And it's so funny. Like he's a person, I'll be like, Dad, because we FaceTime like all the time. I'll be like, Dad, how are you? And he's like, I'm great. Let's talk about you. And I'm like, oh my God, don't even get me started. And then suddenly we've been talking for 2 hours. Great. But if you ask me after the call what my dad's been up to, I think just living a good life. He's like a pretty simple man. And now I have to like give him the play by play of every single day and particularly every single hour, which is hilarious because if we talk like twice to sometimes 3 times a week, I'm like recatching him up on stories that he's quite frankly lived through. So I'm backtracking to 2004 and he's like, hey, so Queen, you were 3 and I was there. Anyway, hi, how are you? I'm good. Thanks so much for asking. I filmed like another one of these on Saturday. It's now Tuesday, so I'm like, not much has gone on. However, I did go to the movies. Okay, so I've talked about being an AMC A lister, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, yeah, we know. Kayla loves AMC A list, and I use it all the time. Well, because I use it all the time, I have like really been in theaters. Do you know what I mean? I've really been in a movie theater. I'm very comfortable there. And so over the last, I think I've had it for a year now. Over the last year, I've now figured out where in a theater I like to sit, which is great. And I have an unpopular opinion that I feel like if I could share without judgment, if it's possible, I don't know, without judgment, okay, hear me out first. If I could share, I have discovered that I really like sitting in row B in a theater, but it's like damn near inside the screen, like I'm like in the film by that point. It's so close. And I love that. I don't know, there's something very immersive about it. And I think I discovered before, like my parents, when I grew up like going to movie theaters all the time with my family, like my parents and my sister, and my parents like always love to sit in like row D or E, like middle ground, right? And maybe it's because they have glasses. I don't actually, is that relevant at all? Because they have glasses. I guess it would be. Wait, that doesn't make sense. That's stupid. Because they have glasses and can see better. And so, like, they want to be as far away as possible. That doesn't make sense. Anyway, we would like sit in row, like in those middle rows to even like back of the theater vibe. Right. And oh my God, wait, can I insert here story time? I remember one time I was like 14 and like me and my friend were like going to a movie theater and our parents like dropped us off and we like went inside to like see, I don't remember what, and there wasn't like anyone in the theater because we were going like maybe we were off from school and it was like the middle of the day, I don't know. And we get into the movie theater, it's like just us and then like 2 people all the way in the back, but our seats were also all the way in the back, right? And so we like go up there and they're like, it's like this, they're teenagers. I guess I was a teenager, but they were like probably 16, 17. And it was this guy and this girl was straddling him like in the back of the movie theater, and they were like making out. And I remember I was like, ugh, ugh, disgusting. Because I was like 14 and I wasn't like, I don't know, I was like a late bloomer. I wasn't thinking about guys like that. So I was like, ugh, ugh, gross. Gross. Sit down and watch Avengers Civil War. Fuck. What are you doing? That's so disgusting. I don't even know if we were watching Avengers, but whatever we were watching, probably Avatar, probably the eighth Avatar that's come out. I mean, my friend were like, do we think, mind you, the movie's starting in like 2 minutes. We were like, do you think the theater's going to fill up? Like, can we move seats? Dead empty, completely empty theater. And it's like, yeah, Queens, you can move seats. We are like, but we don't want to. Like, we were such goody two shoes. We were like, but we don't want to take someone's seat, and like maybe someone's sitting there, but like the people right next to us are like actually having sex. So like maybe we can move seats. I don't know. Anyway, that was the end of the story. But I would go to theaters all the time, and our parents would like sit us further back, basically. Then I just kind of always did that. Then I like stopped going to movies for like a long time, which was really random. And then when I moved to the city, I got into going to movies again, and then downloaded Letterbox, and like my world changed. Like I'm like super into Letterbox, very into Letterbox, very into it. I also always say Letterboxed. The D comes out every time I say it. Notoriously, that doesn't other people don't do that. Notoriously, I do though. I'm known for that. Letterboxed, 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 a Letterboxed, Letterboxed. Letterboxd. Now I'm forcing it. When I started going to the theater more, I noticed I was just like creeping up to the front. I was like, I don't know, I don't feel like I'm close enough. I don't think I'm immersed enough, right? And then there was a couple times where like the seats, like I remember when I went to go see Nosferatu, like the entire theater was full, so only like a seat in A was available, and took it. Horrid experience. It was like A1, like on the far right side. So I was like watching the movie like this. And then I woke up the next morning and I was like, why am I in like immense pain? What's going on there? Everything changed when Sinners came out because I wanted to go see it in IMAX at the Lincoln Square AMC on the Upper West Side. And obviously that movie's so popular, so like everyone was going to see it, especially in New York because everyone's like actors, filmmakers. So the IMAX like 200 seat theater was packed like every single day because people were going to see that movie even at 10 a.m. right? So I snagged tickets though one day for me and my friend for 10 a.m. Okay. And there were only 2 seats left in row B, right in the middle. The entire theater was packed, like completely sold out. But we were like, fuck, we snagged those 2 tickets, right? And I was like, God, that's going to be so close though. I was like, especially for IMAX, it's not even going to be enjoyable. Like, I like sitting kind of close, but that's a lot. But then I sat down, and because it's IMAX, I felt so immersed in that film, and I had already seen it like once by that point, but I felt like I was really seeing it. And I'm not, that sounds so pretentious, but like I'm being for serious. I felt like I was really seeing it. Was like, oh my God, I need to be as close to the screen as possible all the time for forever, quite frankly. And so now since then, it's been what, the movie came out like almost a year ago, and I go to AMC like multiple times a week. I'm always smack dab in row B religiously. Like I went, I went to go, I went to go yeah. Okay. I mean, you get it. I also don't even need to keep going on about this. I like movie theaters and I like sitting in row B. That's crazy. I talked about that for 10 minutes. We're going to cut most of that out. That's insane. See, that's what I mean. Like, I just love to give you all the context ever because I really didn't need to talk about my parents and their glasses back in '08. Do you know what I mean? Like, I didn't need to like reference that to get to the point about liking to sit in row B. That wasn't particularly or completely relevant. I feel like I always think about it kind of like you think you fell out of a coconut tree. Like I am trying to give you all the context for what is and what was and what will be all of the time when I'm telling a story, when really I just need to give you what is. Like I just need to give you the facts that I like to sit in row B now. And that probably stems from getting to now as an adult pick my own seat in a theater. But for some reason, I need to tell you what was, which was my parents sitting me in row DEFGJIK for my entire adolescence. And it's like, well, that's not relevant though, because you don't sit there anymore. And now I'm self-aware. Now I'm sitting here and I'm like, for 10 minutes, I was talking about movie theater seats, not movies, but movie theater seating. Bizarre. Anyway, on the topic of movies, though, Oscars Sunday night. Hey, that is my Super Bowl because I watched all the nominees. I've always loved movies. Obviously, I just talked about movie theaters for the last 10 minutes. But obviously, as of age, and I can now kind of like pick and have more, and I have more of an understanding of myself and my own taste. It's really fun to like see what I'm drawn to and what I love. And so the Oscars is so fun because I'm seeing what other people love and what they vote for. And like people talk about the Oscars all over social media. I really struggled to get that sentence out. All over social media and discuss it to death and like ruminate and like get angry and get in fights and like talk about who's deserving and who's not, and it becomes this incredibly like, I don't know, vicious thing, which I think is bizarre because art is subjective, kind of like notoriously. So the vicious fighting on like social media is always so intriguing to me because it's like it will never end, and it's like we don't realize that like it will never end because art is subjective, and so you will never get on the same page, you know? I will interject that it is different if like you're being vicious towards someone because I don't like, maybe a story is working with particular themes that another person is just refusing to engage with and therefore is dismissing a film and its art because they're an idiot and they're ignorant. That's different. But I mean, sometimes people are arguing over film and like trying to like rattle and shake people into like shifting their opinion. And I'm like, I think simply put, the effect this art is having on me is very different than the effect that art is having on another person, and that's the name of the game, and that's why I love art, you know? Like for me, it's always a reminder about how inclusive art is because I think I beat myself up all the time about the quality of the work that I'm creating, whatever it is. Um, but because I mean, you want to make things of good quality, but I mean, maybe not quality is the best word, but depth or the breadth of something that I'm making. Like I'm not confident enough in it, or I don't think it's good enough yet, or whatever. But it's always. I think things like Oscar conversations are always a reminder to kind of put your art out there because it will inevitably resonate with someone because art is that like transgressive and it is that subjective that someone is going to like it, someone, but it's also a reminder that someone is also not going to like it. So I love the Oscars. I was sat in my living room for those 3.5 hours, sat, and I was journaling because it's really inspiring to me as like an actor, dancer, all the things. Obviously, that's just like it's even so weird to like call myself an actor, like, but like that's deeper. But it's still like inspiring to me, but also it's like a reminder of future things. So it's fun. Also, happy St. Patty's. Happy St. Patrick's Day! Repping the green. Yeah. Okay, that's it. I don't have anything else to talk about. And I've also been talking for like 15 minutes. So we're cutting down the time and the alarm's gone off. And so I'm going to work. But thanks so much for listening. Um, it's been a blast. It's been real. It's been a thrill. I'll see you all on the next one. Bye.